On a night in 1792, during a masquerade ball at the Royal Opera House in Stockholm, one single shot fired through a crowded ballroom, and this would alter the course of Swedish history. This event was not merely a personal attack, it was the culmination of years of political tension, reform and resistance. Today we talk about the assassination of King Gustav III of Sweden. Gustav was born in 1746 as the eldest son of King Adolf Frederick and Queen Louisa Ulrika of Prussia. Interestingly, Ulrika was the sister of Frederick II of Prussia. Gustav was educated under the Enlightenment ideals and heavily influenced by French culture. He was intellectually curious and deeply engaged in politics and the arts from an early age on. He came to power in 1771 during a period of constitutional struggle between the monarchy and the Swedish parliament, which had been dominated by noble factions. In 1772, Gustav staged a non-violent coup, restoring royal authority and initiating reforms aimed at streamlining administration and reducing noble influence. During his reign, Gustav promoted religious tolerance, outlawed torture, and patronized the arts and sciences. He also founded the Swedish Academy and reformed the legal system. However, his centralization of power alienated many among the nobility who saw their traditional privileges eroded under his rule. And by the late 1780s, political divisions in Sweden were intensifying. Gustav's foreign policy, particularly his decision to wage war against Russia, further stained Sweden's finances and drew criticism from both the parliamentarians and the nobles. His efforts to suppress opposition through censorship and political policing only increased resentment among the upper classes. Amid this growing tension, a group of nobles and disaffected officers began organizing resistance to the king's rule. Among them was Jakob Johan Anackström, a former captain of the royal bodyguard. He came from a noble background, but harbored intense personal resentment against King Gustav, especially after being dismissed from the services in 1783 under humiliating circumstances. While Anackström pulled the trigger, the conspiracy was broader. It involved notable aristocrats such as Count Claes Horn and Adolf Ribbing, both of whom had long-standing grievances against Gustav. Ribbing had been involved in a scandal over a duel and was also known for his anti-royalist stance. The plot also included members of the secretive opposition party, a circle of nobles deeply opposed to the king's centralization of power. The conspirators communicated through secret meetings and relied on coded letters to avoid detection. Their plan was to strike at a public event where Gustav would be vulnerable. And to many of them, this assassination was not about revenge, but it was a calculated political act. They believed in removing Gustav, they would trigger a rebalancing of power and force a return to the constitutional governance. What would come, none of them could imagine. On March 16 in 1792, Gustav III attended a masquerade ball at the Royal Opera House in Stockholm, and despite receiving warnings of a potential assassination attempt. He was wearing a black domino mask and a cloak, and this is actually the costume he wore back then. At approximately 10:30 p.m., while mingling and talking with the guests, Gustav was approached by a group of conspirators. Anackström stepped forward and fired a pistol at close range. He struck the king in the lower back. But Gustav remained conscious and was taken to his quarters. The bullet could not be removed, and over the next 13 days he suffered complications including infection and internal bleeding. He died on the 29th of March, 1792. His final days were marked by calm and political planning. Before his death, he reportedly pardoned several of the accused and appointed a regency council for his son. The assassination did not trigger a revolt or a widespread uprising. Instead, it led to a swift and decisive response by royal authorities. Anakström was arrested within days and confessed to the shooting. Under interrogation, he named several co-conspirators, leading to further arrests. While some sources suggest the use of torture, others emphasized voluntary confessions and political motivations. I mean, if you killed the king and now you've been caught, what should you do, right? Maybe rat on people and to get yourself a better stance, right? But Anakström was sentenced to death and publicly executed on April 27th. His punishment included flogging, amputation of the right hand, beheading, and quartering. A spectacle meant to deter future plots. Other conspirators were exiled, imprisoned, or stripped of their titles. The assassination had the opposite of its intended effect. It temporarily consolidated monarchical authority and reinforced royalist sentiment. Gustav's reign is still debated by historians today. He is recognized for fostering the Enlightenment ideals, supporting cultural development, and modernizing elements of Swedish governance. His interest in legal reform and civil liberties stands in contrast to his effort to suppress political dissent. His assassination became a symbol of the volatile intersection between reform and resistance in the late 18th century of Europe. His son and successor, Gustav IV Adolf, lacked his father's political acumen and was eventually deposed. Sweden then adopted a new constitution in 1809 that shifted power toward the parliament and effectively ending absolute monarchy in Sweden. Today, Gustav III is remembered both as a reforming monarch and a controversial figure. His assassination remains one of Europe's most famous ones. Did you already know about Gustav? If not, I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this video. About what other historical figure, event, topic or timeline should I make a video about? Let me know in the comments. If you want to support my channel, please leave a comment, a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, this is HistoryCrafts, where history crafts itself.